If you want to win your week 1 fantasy football matchups, you better start the right quarterback. Here to break that down, SI fantasy analyst Michael Fabiano and the editor of Eagle Maven, Ed Kratz. Fabs, you did your start and sit quarterback article. You have a bunch of passers on this list this week, starting off with Carson Wentz as your must-start quarterback. What do you like about the Philly passer?
Yeah, love the matchup here against Washington. He's really owned the football team in recent seasons, scoring 18.9 or more fantasy points in 5 straight games against them, including 2 games with over 20 fantasy points in 2019. And I know that he's down Alshon Jeffrey and Jalen Reagor, but I think Desean Jackson, who is also a very good play this week, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, they will help Carson Wentz get it done. He is a very good start.
And I'll go over to you. What has Coach Peterson been saying about Wentz and company heading into week 1 matchup against Washington?
Well, this is really Carson's team now. I mean, you mentioned Desean Jackson, but, Wentz has thrived against Washington. The Eagles haven't lost to Washington in several years now. And Desean Jackson and Carson Wentz were on the same page in the season opener last year when the two of them hooked up for 2 50-plus yard touchdown passes. Washington had no answers in the secondary for that. I don't think they will this weekend either. So I expect those two to have a big day. But the Eagles also have, like Michael mentioned, the 2 tight ends, and they also have a rookie, John Hightower, I would keep an eye on, who could have a role in this game with Jalen Reagor out, and as well as J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. But I think it's a good play, obviously, to play Wentz. Just because he's had success against them in the past, and him and Jackson have been on the same page against Washington last year.
Fabs, for your sit list, here's why you're great. For your sit list, you're not naming a bunch of bums, okay? You got Aaron Rodgers, Jared Goff, and Baker Mayfield as quarterbacks to sit this week.
Yeah, Rodgers especially, coming off of maybe his worst fantasy season. He was the QB9, but I mean, 10 out of 16 games with fewer than 16 fantasy points, including both games against the Vikings last year. The Vikings defense got better in the offseason, so Rodgers is a big-time fade for me. Baker Mayfield didn't live up to expectations last year. The offensive line should be better. He's got Austin Hooper as well, but road game against the Ravens. I mean, this is a bad matchup. They allowed just 5 touchdown passes and the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks last year on their home field. So this is a bad week to start Baker Mayfield. Maybe things will get better in the future. Maybe they won't. But this week, Baker's a fade for me.
You can get all of our week 1 player rankings and custom rankings for your fantasy football lineups, including Michael Fabiano's running backs, quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. Start them or sit them by joining SI Fantasy Plus today. Just go to si.com/fantasy.